I was beaten, crushed, kicked, punched, surrounded. Someone reached underneath my visor, tried to gouge out my eye. Myself, I'll be there if I'm needed. I'll do it all again. Members of the Capitol Police and PD will be there.
Many people have seen that video. I had the opportunity to meet with him in July of 2021 in preparation for the first hearing of the January 6th Select Committee. And I was speechless after he told his story, his emotions pouring out. And that was 3.5 years ago. And it is shocking that we are here and that all of the effort and the work and the pain that these officers have gone through have tried to be erased by Donald Trump. Officer Hodges.
Good evening. I'm here today in my personal capacity, and I hope you'll forgive me if I am a bit scattered because, as the Congressman said, I've been working pretty much nonstop since last Friday, I think, for Donald Trump's second inauguration. Working to make sure that everyone who came to D.C. had adequate law enforcement services, that they were protected, that the transfer of power was peaceful. It was kind of surreal on Inauguration Day, having all these people wearing MAGA hats. They saw me and they saw my uniform. They didn't recognize who I was, but they thanked me for my service. And it reminded me of January 6th, 2021, because on that morning they thanked me for my service too. And then they went into the ellipse and listened to Donald Trump speak. And Trump was told they were armed and he didn't care. He told them they had to fight. Fight, fight, fight. And then he sent them to the Capitol. And once they went to the Capitol, they didn't thank me anymore. They called me a traitor, telling me to remember my name. I was beaten, crushed, kicked, punched, surrounded. Someone reached underneath my visor, tried to gouge out my eye. And all these people were just pardoned by Donald Trump, who says that they were the real victims, that they were the patriots. I don't understand how anyone can believe that. Donald Trump, everything he is, everything he stands for is anathema to me. But he is the President of the United States, and he's going to leverage that power in terrible ways. And one of the first ways he chose to do that was pardon everyone from January 6th who tried to stop the transfer of power and usurp the will of the people. I hope that the guardrails that remain in our government are sufficient to preserve the Republic for the next 4 years. And I would encourage everyone watching to look with fresh eyes on what Donald Trump is doing, what he's saying, and continually ask yourself, this is who you want to represent yourself to your children, to everyone else in the world, to your neighbors, your friends, your family. Because while he has been elected, those in Congress who enable him are still answerable to you. And they're afraid of losing their jobs precisely because too many people offer their unwavering support for Donald Trump. If you begin to think even a little bit that we can do better than Trump, then their support for him might waver too. And he's not going to be able to ram through his horrific agenda quite as easily. All that being said, the people who attacked us on January 6th are free now. They can try it again. And they'll know if they try it again in the next 4 years, they know they'll get pardoned again. But that doesn't matter. Myself, I'll be there if I'm needed. I'll do it all again. Members of the Capitol Police and PD will be there.
Two things. There was a story today that Donald Trump might now be thinking of inviting some of these former prisoners to the White House. I wonder what you both officers think of that. Separately, during a press conference yesterday when he was asked to defend his actions, specifically vis-a-vis the prisoners that beat up police officers like yourselves, he said that I am the friend of police more than any other president that's been in the office. And he went on to say, we pardon people who were treated unbelievably poorly. In the history of our country, there has never been anything take place like this. I just wondered, both of you, what your reactions to his response and the fact that he might now host some of these people inside the White House.
Well, he's right about one thing. There's nothing like January 6th that's ever happened in our country before. Donald Trump is not a friend of the police. What Donald Trump is a friend to is anyone or anything that flatters him, increases his wealth, or secures his power. Now, through his life, he has attained a great deal of wealth and power. And
Allegedly.
But it's our law enforcement's duty to uphold the law, and that involves protecting him. So he appreciates that aspect of law enforcement and that we guarantee his safety and his place in society until the voters choose differently. And as for inviting these people into the White House, I mean, yeah, of course he would do that. He recorded them singing the national anthem and played it at his rallies. He's absolutely tied himself to these people, and he can't let go of that, because if he were ever able to come close to the truth, he would have to admit his own role in the insurrection. It's just never going to happen.
We've been at the D.C. jail the past couple of days, seeing the releases happening, hearing some of the words coming from the people who have been released. As you mentioned, the winner is to rewrite history. Many of them saying that they're going to be remembered as heroes in all of this, who fought against tyranny. When you see those releases, when you hear those words, just what is the reaction and what's the feeling that you get inside?
They want to be remembered as heroes. Danny, myself, I think I speak for every single other officer. They don't want that title. I just want accountability. They're seeking to go down in history, and I'm seeking to make sure our history continues. But it's no surprise that that's their rhetoric. They believe that. It's insulting, but it's expected. Like I said, it's been 4 years of dealing with this, and I'm almost tired of talking, but that caveat, the winner, they want you to stop talking. I can't, no matter how tired of it I am. And I think that's what my message to everybody listening and watching, you can't stop. We can't quit. Just if everybody threw their hands up and said, I'm done with this, when anything got hard, slavery would still be legal, women wouldn't have the right to vote. There's so many things in this lifetime that have been almost, it seemed impossible to attain. And this may be one of them. But it's worth it, and that's why I'm still going.
We cannot normalize, you cannot normalize Donald Trump's actions. We cannot pay attention to what he says, because everything he says is a lie or belied by his actions. The American people need to pay attention to his actions. He paid a lot of lip service to helping the middle class during the campaign. He even said it on Monday in his inauguration address. There is not a single executive order that he has issued over the last 3 days that helps the middle class. In fact, the only one that really relates to the economy increases the prices of prescription drugs, undoing what President Biden has done. And then when he's confronted with the fact that that man right behind Officer Dunn in the red was released after tasing Officer Fanone, you know what Donald Trump's response was? We'll take a look at that.
Too late.
What do you mean we'll take a look at that? You just pardoned him. There's nothing to take a look at. You take a look before you make this decision. But this decision was as much about himself and rewriting history for himself as it is about the criminals that he let free. And we all have to hold him accountable. Thank you all.